You know, with doing that whole One Piece fic day by day, story by episode, chapter by chapter, right now, Lunaverse, first, I'm looking forward to Power Rangers is probably the highlight of my week. Speaking of which, The Lunaverse, episode 26, by Rainbow Double Dash, at the Grand Galloping Gala, chapter 6, Trixie and Luna. Until 3 centuries ago, Luna's chambers had been inaccessible except either by teleportation, flying in through the chambers' window, though both actions were utterly impossible without Luna herself wishing it to be otherwise. However, her last major dormo, Quake Fix, had felt that this was an unforgivable situation. Despite there being numerous systems, both mundane and magical, to contact Luna in her chambers if need be, Quake Fix had felt that nothing could beat a good set of stairs. To make his point, he disabled all the systems, then staged a false coup while Luna slept, declaring a state of emergency. With Luna out of contact, various fail-safe systems went into effect, including sealing off of Canterlot, orders for the emergency conscription of 1,000,000 ponies, and the existence troops sent to the borders with Sedalia, Prefix, the Griffin Kingdoms, and, due to a clerical error, Cavilia. When Luna had awoken and discovered what was going on, she had fired Quick Fix, recalled the troops, fired Quick Fix again, canceled the conscription orders, contacted the ambassadors for the nations she had appeared about to invade, and apologized profusely, fired Quick Fix the third time. When he explained that his goal had been simply to prove how none of this could have happened if Luna simply had stairs leading to her room with which to contact her, she noted that simply suggesting might have been enough. Firing him a fourth time, abolished the position of Major Dormo, then bans Quick Fix to serve a minor clerical position in the Equestrian Embassy to the Griffin Kingdoms until he retired. At which point, he was still forbidden to come within 100 miles of the capital city. There were numerous results of the false coup, known as the Stairs Coup, that persisted to the modern day. Griffin Kingdoms continued to insist on a demilitarized zone between the Equestrian North and their South. Sedalia, despite being a pony nation, remained well outside of Equestrian sphere of influence. Bans to the Griffin Kingdoms was still considered the ultimate political consequence for their spectacular failure. Princess Cadenza of Cavilia still told the tale as an embarrassing joke, according to Trixie a few years back. And Luna had installed chairs leading him to her chamber. All this went through Trixie's mind as she, head hanging and still choking back tears, realized she was being carried up those stairs, to Luna's room. The body beneath her was large and midnight blue and warm, with a heart that beat strongly enough for Trixie to hear it, even over the wind of the night. The bustle of the castle, the good company of hooves belonging to the pony princess, carrying her up the stairs that spiraled along outside the tower to Luna's chambers. Trixie stifled a slight giggle at the thought of the stairs coup, her mind grasping at any straw to relieve itself of the utter despair gripping her heart. It didn't last. The despair came back surely as the tide, only far quicker. She was only vaguely aware of the door to Luna's chambers opening, and her being carried inside. Strong, yet soft telekinetic fields surrounded her, lifting her from Luna's back and depositing her on the bed. Trixie wasted little time grasping at the nearest pillow and burying her face in it. She was aware of Luna sitting down next to her, laying a wing across her back, and running one hoof through her mane gently. Eventually, tears began to subside, but it was still some time before Trixie glanced up. She had been in Luna's room before, of course. The greatest surprise to Polly only knew Luna by reputation, would probably have been cluttered how it was. A chaotic collection of trinkets and treasures. Some mere curiosities, some unspeakably magical artifacts, some relatively new, some positively ancient, each one of them some way significant to the princess. Oh, look! One of Meadowbrook's 7 items! Luna couldn't even claim that there was a method to the chaos. Trixie herself had spent several minutes or longer trying to find something, having completely forgotten where she had put it down last. The entire room was dimly lit, bright enough to see or read by, but only just barely. The illumination was in blues and purples provided by glow gems set into the ceiling. Trixie looked at Luna, who was looking at her with a soft smile, though the smile was obviously meant to be a reassuring put-on or for Trixie's benefit, masked the worries he had already felt. "Feeling a little better?" she asked. Trixie nodded slightly. "Yeah," she said, her voice a little ragged and lumped in her throat. "A little," Luna nodded. a horn glowing. A cloth appeared in thin air. She passed it over to Trixie, who used it to rub her eyes. Thanks. Now, Luna said, switching slightly, only to get more comfortable on her bed. Her wings squeezed Trixie tightly. What happened? Trixie blinked a few times, turning the cloth that Luna had given her over her hose. She began, then stopped looking to Luna. The night court was hers, technically. At least officially. The night court was nominally simply what Luna used to help facilitate the running the country. All the nobles therein were swearing to serve her. From a political standpoint, calling it the night court, calling it corrupt, or base, or horrible, as Trixie was beginning to realize the case, was essentially the same thing as calling Luna those things as well. She looked away from Luna. Nothing, she lied. Luna was silent for several long moments. Trixie, she said softly, you know I don't believe you when you say that. Trixie again glanced at Luna. I just had a bad day. A really bad day. I've had those. Luna nodded. She considered. Would this relate to the situation with Viceroy Nightlight? No. And are you lying again? Trixie didn't respond. Was as good as an answer she knew. Luna went outside, looking away. I know you didn't see those things in the paper, she said. Your strength and character has grown considerably since you became a representative of Ponyville. I am having an investigation conducted in Atlas Fisher. Trixie blurted out, without meaning to. Luna looked at her curiously, and Trixie looked back. I spoke with Viceroy late tonight. He said it was Archduke Bobby Fisher. Luna frowned. You spoke with Nightlight? She asked. Trixie nodded. Luna's eyes guided over her face as she did, taking in every detail and factoring in the stutter that Trixie had displayed when mentioning the Viceroy. He's the one who made you so distraught. Nothing had seemed secret for Luna for long. Before she knew it, she felt her mouth working, speaking of her cord. I gave the Canterlot to try and convince him to send Ponyville money. The REMM. And between the newspaper and green grass and blue-blooded Fisher trying to stop me, and Nightlight's stupid secretary losing my appointment, I wasn't able to see him until earlier tonight. I had to break into his office to do it, but he did see me, and that the guards weren't necessary, so I thought that was good. And I apologized to him for what I did to Twilight. I feel awful still. And I told him Ponyville needed the money. He said he already approved it. And that the first check should be arriving tomorrow. Luna grimaced. Yes, she said. Nightlight was dragging his hooves. I'm afraid. I think I've pissed upon him, however. The such abuses of his power, making a town suffer just to get to you, will not be tolerated. But that's it! Trixie exclaimed hysterically. That's just it! He said he knew he'd never get away with it. And yeah, he sent the money, but he's going to dedicate everything to making sure I never get into night court. Luna blinked a few times at that, before turning away and heaving a sigh. I see, she said. I had hoped he was still salvable. Trixie looked away. And I got to thinking, she said, fresh tears coming to her eyes. And I realized all those stories, how every pony thinks that the night court is evil and just full of selfish ponies who only want to hurt each other. They're right! Me and my friends have been threatened and intimidated, and we didn't even do anything. And I ran to Duchess Fragrant, and she thought I was trying to intimidate her family when I didn't even know Fluttershy was a pussy. And I got to thinking, I realized I had been wrong. That the problems we've been having weren't Greengrass's fault. It wasn't just him, it'd be somebody else. And the entire night court is the problem. Trixie flinched, expecting a rebuke from Luna. When it didn't come, she looked back to Luna. Her smile had dropped. She was just looking at Trixie sadly. Trixie stared back. Well, she demanded, sniffing and wiping her eyes again. This is where, Princess, you're supposed to tell me I'm wrong. Luna considered, visibly weighing her words. There are all good ponies in the night court, she said. You mentioned Justice Fragrant. There are others, but the entire night court doesn't need to be corruption to create an entire atmosphere of fear and distrust. Not even most of it, just enough in the right places, kind to restless submission. Trixie blinked rapidly a few times. You knew? Luna looked away. Yes, she said softly. Trixie sat up from under Luna's wing. But what? She demanded as she stood turning around. How could you let this happen? Luna's eyes met Trixie's own. Do you also believe I let it? She asked. Trixie stared. Well, then why aren't you doing anything about it? What makes you think I'm not? Trixie jabbed her hoof out Luna's window. It happened in a rough direction of Ponyville. Her melancholy was being swiftly replaced by anger now. Because of what just happened in Ponyville! What's been happening to my friends for the past half a year? Luna ruffled her wings. This is a period of transition, Trixie. It'll be uncomfortable, painful even, but I promise you, Trixie, that I am trying to control the transition as much as I can. Keep the fallout, the pain, to a minimum. Trixie stared. What? She demanded. What are you talking about? Luna considered again. 1,000 years ago, when the dust had finally settled for my sisters, from Corona's rampage, when I returned to Canterlot, it took me 2 decades to fully repair the damage to Equestria and turn it into a strong, growing nation again. When once again I convened the Night Court, it was still full of noble ponies looking to put the past behind them, to move forward and to do what was right for Equestria. And they did, and so did their successors, most of them. Some of them were more concerned with their petty gratification than the needs of the nation. Luna looked at Trixie. The next generation barely remembered the time of Corona's rampages. They even had less of a reason to care for the state over themselves, and so on and so forth. Every few years, the makeup of the court grew a little worse. Their morals a little more than open to compromise. Luna shook her head. And I tried, Trixie, to root out corruption wherever it was. And I succeeded, most of the time. But not all the time. As more and more ponies and nobles in the court grew complacent and decadent, I began to miss more and more, and the ponies of Equestria suffered. So, finally, 4 centuries after Corona, 600 years ago, I decided enough was enough. I instituted a series of large-scale investigations into the affairs of the Night Court. I discovered that as many as half of the court were involved in some kind of scandal, or racket, or otherwise abusing the position for their own gratification. Over the course of a decade, I exposed them, had them tried for crimes and dealt with them appropriate for those crimes. Eventually, I opposed the Night Court of all corruption, or close enough. New nobles were created or elevated, and the Night Court was once again strong and true to the ideas of Equestria. Luna stopped, looking at Trixie expectantly. The blue unicorn stared back for several seconds. But, she ventured, but it happened again. Luna grimaced even as she nodded. And I tried, once more, to stop it on a case-by-case basis. And again, some corruption would begin to slip through the cracks, and it built up. Well, this time, having the experience in the last past to draw upon, I began the widespread investigations and pillars to sooner, recognizing what was happening and stepping in before the corruption spread too far. Roughly a third of the Night Court had to be purged, rather than half as before. And the crimes committed were not as debased as the first time. Luna closed her eyes, casting her head down. It is the nature of governments to go through the cycle of golden age, fall into decadence and corruption, purge themselves, and rise once more. I try to make the transition as smooth as I can, but there will always be incidents that slip through the cracks no matter how hard I try. Oh, really? Trixie demanded. The anger, the heat in her head and throat and heart, wasn't abating in the slightest at Luna's explanation. So, that's all this is to you, just some cycle? Luna grimaced. No, she said, standing. Trixie, this isn't some kind of plan. I try to fight against the ponies who abuse the system whenever I can, but there are limits, very strict limits on what I can and cannot do. Laws like right to privacy and innocent until proven guilty apply to nobles just as much as commoners. I need plausible evidence before I can ever intervene on any matter in a legal sense, even on an individual level. Let alone the evidence I require to launch an investigation of the entire Night Court. But you're the princess! Trixie hissed, stopping closer to Kuna. You don't need any kind of justification. That's your Night Court. The nobility are supposed to be an extension of your will. What they're doing reflects back on you. So what are you suggesting? Luna said, raising a hoof, pointing at her chamber's window. Is that I should trot out there and begin rounding up ponies I suspect to be corrupt? Yes! And then charge them with all the crimes I all but know they have committed, but for which I have no direct evidence? Yes! Because you're the princess! It's your job to protect Ponyville from things like this. But right now, you don't seem to be doing all that much. And this cycle thing... Luna grimaces worsened. Shall I pass judgment on them too? Luna asked, her horn glowing slightly. After all, I am the highest authority in the land, on punishment anyway. Perhaps this should be the true in reality as well. I am an outlaw, and immortal. For millennia I have looked upon the world and seen its course and learned good from evil, right from wrong. Who's better to pass judgment than I? Trixie stared, Luna's words cutting through Trixie slightly. Well, no, probably not, she said. I mean, just round them up. But send them to course. Give them trials. Ah, but Trixie, Luna said, beginning to pace slowly around Trixie as her horns glow intensified. The color was beginning to bleed from her coat, making it increasingly darker, while her mane and tail were gradually flowing more and more abandoned, extending and curling like they had a will of their own. And was she getting taller? Within the courts, would not the nobles have a chance to fabricate evidence in their favor, to simply weasel out of any sense, and to continue to corrupt and debase my Night Court? We are speaking of the richest and most influential ponies in Equestria. No, it would be far better if I, in my immortal wisdom, were to pass judgment. Luna completed a circuit around Trixie, her face quickening. By now her coat was more black than blue, her tail and mane long and sinuous, curling around Trixie's hose as though wondering where to grab her, while her regalia shifted to appear more like armor, including her crown. Exiles in dungeons for the lot of them, but wherefore should I replace them? Wherefore would I allow the cycle to continue? I can do everything they can do. What does not agree? Wherefore will I leave them? Her second circuit complete, Luna's eyes had changed. The irises expanding while pupils narrowed to dragon-like slits. Nightmare Moon, will you get out of this story? You can't. Mayhaps the Night Court should be abolished altogether, Luna asked, not stopping her circling at Trixie. Perhaps I should instead reign, as is my right. No mere princess. What sayest thee to that? Should I crown myself as Equestria's unchallenged, uncompromised, undead queen? She punctuated the last with a stomp of her hoof, which caused her mane and tail to stutter, fully animated of their own accord, curling around her room with a great cloud that rolled with stars, open-mouthed grimace that showed rows of sharp, pointed teeth. She had become a dark twin to the tyrant sun. Nightmare Moon! When a look at her face that was one did not in any way match any that Trixie had seen Corona make, nor did it fit what Luna had just been saying. It was an expression of resigned sadness and melancholy, mixed with almost depression. Trixie stared at Luna. You're not your sister. The dark twin of Corona blinked, and all at once the illusion surrounding Luna clashed into deep blue, starting smoke that was quickly pulled out the window and became nighttime air. She had a long, tired sigh. But what you're suggesting is the path that led Celestia to becoming Corona. It's not merely one step on that path, but rather a headlong gallop down its length. Trixie blinked a few times. But why can't you just fix it? Okay, I get it. There's limits to what you can do, but even within those limits, I try, Luna said. I really am trying, Trixie, I swear to you. 400 years ago, a town wronged by a noble pony would have no legal recourse beyond the direct appeal to the crown. The elevation of all mayoral offices to lordships and the appointment of representatives by my decree changed that. It was met with considerable resistance from the nobility, however. Sit down. Or, even as 2 centuries ago, a pony who did not own land would have been a second-class citizen. That was not my doing. It was a pony named Brilliant Orange. But I made my support of the program and change publicly known. Then there are the education programs to which the Crown donates hundreds of thousands of bits every year. Nearly every pony in Equestria can read and write, and receives a basic education as a result. Something that would have been unheard of 3 centuries ago. Something today taken for granted, but which creates more equality among the commoners and nobility. I try, Trixie. I'll not claim to get everything right. Sometimes I wonder if I can get anything right. But I am trying as best as I can. Luna stared at Trixie. You and your friends. You were caught in the crossfire, naked and nearly defenseless. For that, I can only offer my apologies and a solemn promise I will take whatever steps I can to prevent it in the future. Trixie blinked a few times, wiping her eyes. It's not right, she said. It's not fair. No, it's not. Nobody else is playing by the rules. But I must, because I am the princess. Trixie didn't agree. Trixie was certain there were something she could say, some arguments she could make, that Luna wouldn't be able to respond to. That would make her see what she was doing was wrong, that the government in Equestria was wrong, that the whole thing should be swept aside and rebuilt from scratch from the ground up. But she couldn't summon up the will to think up the argument. Looking at Luna, all she saw was her mentor stealing back. Not willing to admit Trixie was right, any more than Trixie was willing to do the reverse. Simply no longer wanting to fight. Almost without realizing it, Trixie nodded far forward, embracing Luna tightly, not wanting to fight either. Luna returned it eagerly, hose and wings both holding her apprentice tightly. I will make sure that Nightlight knows that his actions are reprehensible, while he will not be welcome in my presence if he cannot abandon this campaign of hate against you. Luna promised Trixie, and if this whole state of affairs has soured you to the thought of entering the Night Court, then whatever else you choose to make of your life, I will support that as well. It's been one of my greatest hopes that you could enter the Night Court and help me change it for the better. But over and above that, I want you to be happy. That will never change. Trixie smiled weakly as he withdrew from Luna, nodding. Thanks, she said. I don't know. I just don't know anything right now. Luna offered a thin-lipped grin of her own at that. Look into my life, she said. She took in a breath and exhaled a long, weary sigh. Now I have to go attend my duties. I am sorry, Trixie, but I remember what happened last time I left you in my room unsupervised. Trixie blushed slightly, remembering her brief stint as the masked empress of the moon. She nodded as followed Luna from her chambers, out the door and bounced downstairs. Luna kept one eye on her two as descended. I'm sorry I couldn't do more. Trixie nodded, as he paused when the two reached the bottom of the stairs. However, the two of them standing in the vast balcony room had a map of Equestria, and its neighbors on the floor, and a ceiling that was a star chart made from precious gems. An idea occurred to her. It was a bad one. What if? Trixie feared anyway. What if there was something I could do to help the cycle thing? Luna blinked, giving Trixie a sidelong glance. Trixie, she warned. No, wait, Trixie said, holding up her hose. Just hear me out.